farther and farther and farther. Today is Easter Sunday. It is April 9th, Sunday, April 9th, you guys. We're not going to be on this call very long, but we're here again with our weekly Outlook call, and I'm extremely excited. I'm so happy and grateful to be here with you guys today, just to provide some insights on the week ahead, you guys. While we're getting started, just go ahead and drop in the chat where we're tuning in from so I can shout you guys all out. We can recognize just how far we're reaching, and we'll go ahead and we'll dive straight into today's weekly Outlook, you guys. So as I see in the chat, we've got Virginia always representing in the house. We've got Chattanooga, Tennessee, always repping in the house. We've got Nigeria, we've got Kenya, we've got Saudi Arabia. Like, that's been our usual reach right now. We've got Cameroon. Shout out to my guy from Cameroon. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of friends out there right now. Some very good friends from Cameroon. We're global, you guys. Every single Sunday we are here and we're reaching all different corners of the world, and we're branching out every single day to provide this additional value, you guys. As we go ahead, we're going to dive straight into this. Let me go ahead and I'm going to just share my screen. If you guys can see, just drop a 777 in the chat, and I'll go ahead and we will kick it off from that point. Let's make sure that we have everybody. Can you guys see? Okay, we can't see my screen. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, excellent, you guys. This week here, it is a holiday weekend. Sunday, it is Easter today. I was thinking about whether I should just cancel the call due to the holiday, and that's what I was going to lean into, but I just wanted to keep that consistency and just take that time and just hop on here just very quickly with you guys and go over these things. We won't take too much time today, but as we start off, every week we start off in the same place, just doing a review of the news, making sure that there's nothing that's going to catch us off guard or anything that we'll be surprised about throughout the week. Of course, usually on Sundays I usually don't trade unless I see things that are like I'm gonna hold for the entire week. There's nothing happening today in terms of the news. As the market opens, I wouldn't even really focus too much on what's going on. I closed out the majority of my positions last week because we had the long holiday weekend just as well, but Monday just as well, we don't have too much going on Monday. This is the one we have new loans that'll be coming out, so we'll see that. Oftentimes, like the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollars will sometimes be tied to it. We'll see how that affects things. This doesn't really affect too much of what I focus my attention on. Tuesday, we've got FOMC a member speaking. Harker speaks. Oftentimes, I don't like to trade these news events either, if I can be honest, because sometimes during the news events, or I don't trade like directly before the news. Hopefully we can be positioned or we already see our setups ahead of time. Sometimes between the news, based on how they're speaking or the words that they say, there can be like some ups and downs in the market that, is not really my favorite place to trade. You guys, what I will show you guys is that my favorite trading day of the entire month is actually coming up this week. We've got USD CPI news, which will be coming up on Wednesday. If you guys have been trading with me for a while, if you guys have been tapped in for a while, for like the past 6 months at least, as we've been getting on here, you guys know exactly why the CPI news is my favorite release. You guys, we have made so many incredible trades trading that CPI usually. And I'll tell you this is just for me. The news events that I like to trade are the news events that are associated to a forecast, to where there's a number, either related to the monetary policy or consumer prices as we have coming up, or, interest rates or anything like that. Because oftentimes when we do have, news that just has like is forecasted here, typically with the CPI numbers, it is, if the number that is released is greater than the forecast, then it's good for the currency and the US dollar goes up from against that, right? If it's less than, then we see it fall. Sometimes those are the times to where we get those large candles, especially when there is a, if it's a number that might be a little bit more surprising to you, right? What I often look at when I'm looking at the news is I'll look at the previous was 0.4, right? The forecast is 0.2. If we come in at like 0.3 Three, it's very good for the currency. It's not better than the previous, but we will see. I believe, and I'm not, and I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I'm not the fundamental, expert trader, right? I primarily have focused my career. I've been trading you guys now for about 7 years, going on to my 8th year. The majority of my trading career, I focused on the technical side of the market, right? I focused on pure price action, market structure, supply and demand, support and resistance, things like that. Higher time frame trends, things like that. I've just now started to incorporate just these news events within the past maybe 12 months, kind of like focusing on the news. The news was something to where I would always kind of stray away from it when when there was news events, I would completely stay out of the market completely. But I've now recently been, diving into it more. And as we've been trading these news events and some of these high impact releases, we've had a lot of success, you guys. And in reality, for me, I had somebody that was going to hop on the call today. He is the expert. He is somebody who is so knowledgeable about the fundamental side of the market. I wanted to have him on the call this week. I might have him on the call next week. I want to start incorporating some additional speakers, some guest speakers, and things like that, so other people can come in and give their insights. So if anybody's wanting to collaborate and to work together, you guys, I'm open to sharing this. I want to just provide value to as many people as possible. So essentially, you guys, as we're starting off the week, I expect it to be a very slow week from the beginning. Sundays should be nothing going on. I'm not focused on the market today. Monday, really not too much going on as well. We might see some motion, some movement. Tuesday, we've got some, conversations that, I tend to listen to them, but I don't really focus too much on it. And then Wednesday is the time that I'm actually looking forward to, where I'll be looking to position myself for the week ahead. So I might be in the market Wednesday. Maybe we get swing trades and we're in the trades long term from Wednesday going forward, right? Typically, I look at Wednesdays as reversals. Some people that trade, they say, the Tuesday's the trend. Wednesday, there's often reversals. Maybe we catch reversals this week. We don't know. The way that I've kind of interpreted the news, you guys, and I know I'm not the expert again. I typically believe that the market has certain areas in the market. There's supply zones, there's demand zones, there's areas in the market that the market will trade into. For me, I really believe that the news helps to accelerate that process, right? The news helps to push the market to the places that it would have gone to anyways, but it helps to push it there faster, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll get into that. We've got some CAD news, some monetary policy reports. This is coming out at 9. Wednesday is going to be a hectic day. There's a lot of news coming out on Wednesday. FOMC minutes, it's going to be crazy. And then we've got unemployment rates and employment change on the Australian dollar as well. You guys, this is Wednesday is going to be the day that I'm going to be looking for. I'll be looking at the mark PPI. Wow, there's so much going on this week. There is a lot going on this week, for real, for real. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll go ahead and we'll keep our eyes on it, you guys. As you guys are if you guys are a part of the inner circle groups, you guys just continue to drop your analysis, your trades in the group. We'll continue to talk through it together. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I'll share my perspectives. You guys, as we dive into this, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not, this is not financial advice. This is my perspectives, my views of the market. We've got a group here today that I've been helping to get funded in the Forex markets. We've been walking people through, getting people educated, getting people funded, doing all of these things. So we do have success and we do have success stories. If you guys have made money as you guys have been working with me or in the groups, you guys can go ahead and just drop some fire signs in the chat right now, just for those people who may not be the believers. If you guys are on the chat right now and you guys have made money with Wale's Wealth Tips, with driven trading, with any of those things, go ahead and drop some fire signs in the chat. We'll keep it going, you guys. And we're just about wrapped up for the news. Only one person? Who's this? It's one person, and that's my lady. The only person made money with me in this call is my girl. Come on now. I know that ain't true. I know that ain't true. She says she rocking though. All right, anyways, so you guys, coming into it Thursday, we've got some GDP news, and then we've got core PPI news just as well. I'm really mad that y'all ain't show up for me. I still only see 2 people on the chat that said they made money while they been in Wale's Wealth Tips. That sounds crazy to me. That means y'all ain't taking my trades then. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to jump straight into it. Like I said, I don't want this to be a long call today. So typically, you guys, as we start off and kick off the week, I always kick off the week just doing a review of the news. Once I've done a review of the news, I like to jump straight into a breakdown of the dollar. Oftentimes, the pairs that I trade are correlated to the dollar, the DXY. So the DXY, as we see it here, you guys can find a DXY simply. It is the dollar index. It is a basket of currencies. It is the US dollar that's weighted against all the other currencies that are out there. You guys, as you have seen, there's a lot of news that's taking place with the dollar right now, with people wanting to move away from, or other countries wanting to move away from the dollar as the standard. They're talking about trading things like oil which is where the United States really gets their power, like trading things like oil in other currencies like the yuan, which is going to be, if that does happen and it does go through smoothly, which I believe it will. I believe we will move away from the US dollar as the standard. And when that happens, you guys, it will have an effect on the dollar. We will see the dollar fall. But the fact about it is, I am somebody who, despite the news and the news articles, sometimes what my mentor always told me, my original mentor, when I first started trading in the stock market, my mentor used to tell me to buy the rumor and sell the news. When they were talking all of those things and it was a bunch of chit chat and a bunch of talk, like that's when he would be like, be in the market. When the news actually came out, he was out of there. You know what I'm saying? Buy the rumor, sell the news. I like to take a contrarian approach because 95% of people are going to be wrong. And if 95% of people are wrong, I want to be on the side of the 5% that's doing the opposite. My mentor used to tell me to study the masses and do the opposite, right? We want to be able to do the opposite of, what the majority of people are thinking, because the majority of people will not be successful, you guys. So with that being said, I'm going to go through and what I made a decision on is that I'm going to trade the market as I see it, not for what I believe it to be or for what I think should happen or for what the news is telling me. I want to trade it exactly as it is. As we've been going through, you guys, I've been a seller in the dollar for a while now, right? We've been seeing some dollar sells. I know if you guys are in the group, in the Wale's Wealth Tips group, we caught this sell on the dollar in the month of March. A huge sell. It was a very, very simple trade. I'll talk you guys through it. For those of you who are on the call right now that are traders, you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about, right? I tend to trade things like I said, supply and demand. I trade imbalances. I trade mitigation, liquidity. Like I look for liquidity sweeps. I look for all of those different things. For those of you who are traders on the call already, and shout out to you guys, because this is the highest call that I've had so far. We're 22 people on the Wale's Wealth Tips group chat right now, or in the weekly outlook call right now, you guys. So shout out to you guys first and foremost, because we're growing, we're building. That means we're having an impact, you guys. 23 people, we're still growing. I'm super excited. I'm happy and grateful. We'll tap right into it, you guys. I'll show you what I was looking at on the US dollar and the reason as to why I took sells, right? So those of you who are experienced in the market, what you'll see is a couple of things. The first thing that I noticed on the dollar was this, right? We saw, looking at this current time, like in 2023 right here, right? In this area here. So the first thing that I saw was that we had created an imbalance here, right? This is an area to where there are a large number of sellers in the market, but there are no buyers to equal that. If I am selling something, like if I have a physical product for you guys, like if I said, hey, I want to sell you this iPhone right here. You guys, I got an iPhone. Who wants to buy it, right? In order for me to sell you this phone, I need to have a buyer. I need to have somebody to buy it from me. And in order for you to buy the phone, you need to have somebody to sell it to you, you guys. That is something that is so foundational. It makes so much sense to me. I think it's like the basics in the market, and I don't feel that people understand that. If there is a seller, there has to be a buyer. I'll give you an example. I'll show this to you here, you guys. So let's go back and let's just go back in time, because history repeats itself. So if we look at this area here, for every buyer that came into the market, there was an equal but opposite seller. I think that's like Newton's law. For every action, there's an equal but opposite. Anyways, for every seller, there's an equal buyer, right? Price comes back to where the market sold from. If we look at it here, the market just makes the same patterns over and over again. For every seller, there's a buyer, right? For every buyer, there's a seller. For every buyer, there's a seller. For every seller, there's a buyer. For every seller, there's a buyer. For every buyer, there. I can do this forever, you guys, because it never stops. If you guys want to really practice, for every seller, there's a buyer. It's the rules. It's supply and demand. It's just like it's just like, if you think about it, it makes sense, right? It makes sense. So the first thing that I notice when I get on the charts is, where are the active sellers? These are the sellers that are in the market, right? And this is an imbalance. What an imbalance is in the market is an area where there are more sellers or more buyers than their counterpart, right? In this area, we have nothing but sellers, indicated by red candle, red candle, red candle. And what we expect to do is, we expect for price to pull back in on the buy side in order to meet the sellers, right? So they can have that exchange. When I see that, the next thing that I look at are a couple things. So I take that into consideration, right? Then what I see is this. I see this area right here, to where I start to see these these equal lows, right? Or double bottoms, right? Is what people will call them, where the market comes into the low, right? It comes into the low and it bounces, right? Then it comes into the low and it bounces, right? The fact about that is, retail traders, most retail traders, and I do as well, like, I'll trade double bottoms on a higher time frame, on the 4-hour, daily, weekly, sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But most of the time, a lot of retail traders always look for the double bottoms. They look for those equal lows. What I look at is, I also look for the equal lows, but I look to the left of the equal lows. When I see equal lows that are like this, I look to the left to see if there are any other imbalances, which we do have an imbalance here, right? If there's any other imbalances that need to be mitigated. You guys, if you don't understand the terminology, if you don't really understand exactly what it is that I'm saying, you guys feel free to reach out directly to me. If you guys want to be involved with the course, the Driven Trading Academy, or, deeper in the Wale's Wealth Tips, you want to be in the inner circle group, just feel free to reach out to me, you guys. I'd be more than happy to get you guys connected. But what I see is that I always see these like equal lows. And then what I look at is, I always look to the left of the equal lows. If you look to the left of the equal lows, this is a lot of sauce, you guys. Most people won't give this away for real. This is like really what I've spent 7 years learning, and I give it away for free every single Sunday, and I don't hold nothing back. I don't hold nothing back, you guys. So keep on tapping in. And if you guys really want to go to that next level, and you guys want to tap in and work closer together, I know iron sharpens iron. If there's great traders that are on the call, I know I can learn from you. If there are people who are getting started, I know I can help to shorten or compress your learning curve. But this is the candle that starts this move. If you're in the Driven Trading Academy, what you'll see is we talk about whales, right? We talk about whales, or we talk about the institutional candle that starts the upside, or the upwards, or the downwards, whichever. In this case, it is the upside momentum. This is the candle. So what we've learned is that we are buyers in the market until the big dog is taken out, right? Until he is taken out, we're buying. So in order for me to sell in this market, I need the market to close below the level that I have marked right here, this black line. I need the market to close below this level and then to continue falling, right? That's where I find my stop loss. And I'll get to those things. Should I give all that sauce? I'm going to give all that sauce, right? That's where I find my stop losses, below the candle that started the move, right? I find my entries at the retest of that candle, because if this is an institutional trader, let's say they have $6 billion that they want to invest into the market. They invest $3 billion and the market takes off, right? Guess what? They still want to get the rest of that money on the table, right? They want to get the rest of that money on the table. So oftentimes the market will pull back into that area. They'll have other sellers and it'll come back, and then we'll end up getting in there. So you guys, if I can be honest, I took this buy and I lost this buy. I'll be real. I'm going to show you. I don't clean my charts before I get on here, though. You guys know that as well. If you guys been rocking with me, I never clean my charts before a call. We look at the wins and the losses together always. So we ended up taking this sell on the dollar. It went into this upwards channel, right? So we saw the lows, touch the lows, touch the highs, touch the lows, touch the highs, touch the lows. Then we break. When price comes back and retests, so we're creating higher highs and higher lows, which is an uptrend. Once the market now it breaks. It creates an imbalance here as well, you guys. If you want to see how we executed this trade, it created an imbalance here in this area right here. When the market comes back to fill that imbalance or to mitigate that imbalance, we take a further sell on the market, right? We sell it again. And now we're in a downtrend, right? Now the trend has changed, but the trend can change on a smaller time frame. The trend might change on a 4-hour or a 2-hour or a 1 hour or whatever the case may be, but that doesn't mean that this is an end. Even though this seems like a downtrend, you guys, and it seems like the market has been falling for such a long period of time. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. When we zoom out and look at the longer term trade, like you guys, this has been nothing but bullish, right? It's been nothing but bullish. And now price has come back, right? It's sold down. We might sometimes consider this to be a retracement, right? So what I can expect to happen on a higher time frame, maybe the weekly, is that we might see price sell into here. We might actually see, imagine this being the double bottom W. Oh my goodness, I just noticed that, you guys. Imagine this being a double bottom, right? The same thing that we just saw, I just talked about, double bottom, buys back to the top, and then maybe the dollar really does go to nothing. You know, when the news comes out and says that the dollar is about to fall, the United States is such and such, I believe it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen in the timelines that they tell us it will. If they're transitioning the entire world into another currency, I know they've probably been working on it. It's going to take more than just a couple of days, right? And in that process, we might see the United States take countermeasures and do whatever the case may be. Anyways, you guys, to the point, and I'm going to get to the trading real quick because I don't even trade the dollar, right? There's a couple things I want you guys to see. This is a downtrend identified by lower highs or lower highs, high, lower high, lower high, low, lower low, lower low. So this is a downtrend. This has been a downtrend, but this is the whale, the candle that started the move. What I would like to see is I would only feel comfortable being in this trade. And I'm going to delete this just for now. I wanted to keep it on there so I can be transparent with you guys and show you what my previous setup was. The only way I would be comfortable entering this trade to the buy side is if the lows are liquidated, right? This imbalance is mitigated, right? And then our candle closes above the high, or above this zone right here, right? I want to see that candle close above, which is exactly where price closed at the end of the week. It also closed with this doji here, right? Which now, when I take trades, there are a few things that I look for. You guys, see, I wanted to be a short call, but I really can't, I feel like it takes more time to really go into it and really share with you guys what I'm looking at. What I look for is I look at risk to reward trade setups, right? Always a 1 to 3 or better. Always a 1 to 3 or better. I never take a trade setup that's less than a 1 to 3, right? I normally would trade from one zone to the next zone, from the highs to the low, or from the top to the bottom, or I'll trade back into these imbalances, right? Which this seems super unrealistic right now with everything that's being said. But the risk to reward for me, it just seems so much greater given the fact that all of the things that I'm looking for it's happening, right? Even in this downtrend here, we see price has been falling every time it touches this line, but then all of a sudden we get a spike above this line, right? And it starts to show us some bullish energy, and then now we sell. And what I'm expecting is that we are selling to buy. And now we might find some sideways action. And as long as price stays above here, we get this curve, and we might see price come up here and do something like this. We never know. Or the market could just fall. All right. That's just my analysis of the dollar for right now. I'm looking to go long on the dollar this week, probably for CPI news, consumer price indexes. Or the consumer price index. So on Wednesday, that means on Monday, Tuesday, I might be able to get a sneaky position while nobody's paying attention. Then when the news hits, I might already be in it. This is the year over year CPI as well, which is big. Year over year CPI. And then we have, why is the details not opening? Can you guys all still hear me? Drop some fire signs in the chat if you guys are tracking with me, if this is some good information for you right now. Let me see you guys light up the chat. Let me make sure that you guys can still hear me and see me. All right, you guys can still see my screen. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So we're good to go. So I'm taking a contrarian approach against what everybody else is saying and what the news is saying. I just have to look at the best risk to reward, and I have to look at what the market is as it is. So what does that mean for everything else? Because really, I don't trade the dollar index most times. What I'll trade is I'll trade pairs against the dollar. My favorite being the New Zealand dollar, you guys. I also, if I can be honest, I also lost this trade last week just as well. Last week we took some wins and some losses. I ain't gonna lie to you. We had some wins and some losses. I had took the buys on this about 2 weeks ago, and we exited the buys or whatever the case may be. I believe this trade will play out this week. I was trying to trade back into this imbalance here, but then I also see that there's a possibility. Let's see what time frame I can see this on. There's a possibility that this is a liquidity grab right here. That this is a liquidity grab. And if I look at this on like the daily, we can see where price spiked above. You know, you might have hit some stop losses on the sellers, and then price immediately falls back in. And now this candle that we're seeing here, and if you look at it on the weekly time frame, is beautiful. Look at that. Look at that on the weekly. It completely rejects, and we close so much lower. So it shot all the way up, and then it was forced back down. When I see something like this, a big wick candle like this, especially on a higher time frame like the weekly, that means that the bulls, the blue candles, the buyers were pushing into the market, and the seller said, no, you're not going this way. I don't know why, you guys. I'm not even a fan of this movie or like that. Y'all might think it's super like nerdy a little bit, but I remember watching Lord of the Rings, and there was Gandalf, and he was like, you cannot pass, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't pass, right? It makes me feel like the market has shot up, and it was told, you're not going that way, and it was rejected, right? So now we have where the markets come back in here. Maybe we get a push into this area here. I'm not necessarily taking buys at this exact point. I know my chart's a little bit messy right now just as well, but I might not take buys at this point. I might end up looking for, I'm not taking sells at this point. I might just kind of be patient and wait for more price action. Did you guys think that was funny? He said, yeah, you shall not pass. Yes, sir, man. See, you know the vibes, bro. But I might expect for price to pull back like, oh, wait, maybe not. It might just sell from here. For real, for real. Maybe I'll just keep that markup right back on there. Let me put that back on there. I'll clean all these things up. I kind of just put these on here when I'm teaching and sharing with people. But at the same point, if I come and look down at the 4-hour time frame, we are back in this zone. Like, in order for me to be a buyer here, what I would want to see is I would want to see for price to come and break up above this area here, to buy into here, and then to stay above this level. Remember the same thing that I told you guys on the dollar. In order for me to be in order for me to be a seller of the dollar, I need it to close below, right? I need it to close below this level. I needed to go ahead and make that lower low, close below him, and then I'll look to enter on the retest. Same thing is true for New Zealand dollar. In order for me to be a buyer, I would want it to close above here and to be, to go up that way. Right now, if I ask myself, what does it cost for me to figure out if my trade is going to be right or not? It would cost me about 28 pips. 28 pips to see if we go to the upside or not, right? Right now, I'm looking at sells on the New Zealand dollar. We had big buys on. I did win some trades. Last week. And guess what? My winners pay for all my losers every single time, because my focus is always risk to reward. So in that, you guys, my biggest setup of the week was Euro NZD. For Euro NZD, what we saw first was an impulse move to the upside, and then we saw price come into some sideways consolidation, right? We started to see the market range in this sideways motion. Once we came through this range, I always found that I learned this from Driven as well, that some of the best opportunities come from buying at the bottom of the range. Like, a lot of people don't like trading in the range because they say it's consolidation, but essentially the whale has already come into the market. He's already told us, this is what I'm doing, I'm buying. Then it goes sideways, and while it's going sideways, the larger investors are accumulating more positions here, right? They're actually creating some liquidity here. If you guys are traders, you guys are in Driven, you know what liquidity is. There's stop losses or sell stops below the lows. Sometimes we'll go and have that liquidity sweep to come and mitigate this imbalance, and then price will buy back up. We're already floating we're already floating over like over like 100 pips, 160. I think we hit 200 pips at the high. One of my students, Dexterity, we were in this trade together. Dexterity is like, yo, I've never taken a trade like this before. He's like, I've never done this before and actually held my trades, right? But we're about 160 pips in profits on that one. And then, you guys, the way that I always look at these things is there is an equal measured move. I learned this from my mentor just as well. When price kind of goes into this ranging market, I'm looking for the market to duplicate this previous move, right? This move to the upside. Now we went sideways. I want to see the market go ahead and create the exact same extension on the next leg up to the upside. So now, for those of you who have rocked with me, you know, if I'm selling NZD Euro USD, then I'm buying Euro NZD because NZD is on the front of one and on the back of the other. So whatever is affecting NZD will affect both of them. We don't have any New Zealand dollar news this week, but the New Zealand dollar can be affected by, I believe, the Chinese yuan news can come out and can, you know, affect it. The AUD news that we have can affect it just a little bit. AUD and NZD have actually been trading pretty interesting. I know one of them, I believe it was NZD, like raised interest rates by 0.5, you know, this last cycle. And I don't think AUD did. And now they kind of started like, I don't want to say they're decoupling. They're like, we call them twins. Like they always have moved together as long as I've traded them. But now there's like a little bit of a, you know, it's a little different now because one's got a higher interest rate than the other right now. Anyways, this was a winner from last week, you guys. So I did lose NZD USD for 28 pips at one point. And then I did see the gains on Euro NZD for over 200 pips. We're still floating in that one. I believe price has created a new high. It did create a new high. I don't know if I trust this because this is like, you know, we could just be, that might be a liquidity sweep right here. I don't really like this candle. What I would want to see is I would want to see price close above here, maybe stay above this 1.745 area before we make that next push to the upside. Right now, I like it. I'm rocking. I don't really use a lot of indicators. As you guys see, I'm a real price. Like I just focus on price action and things like that. But if I were to go ahead and throw some moving averages on here, typically at the cross of the moving average, when my smaller moving average, I use the 8 and the 21. I'm giving you guys the whole game. I use the 8 and the 21 when I have one moving average that crosses above the next one. Like I tend to follow that trend. You know what I'm saying? I don't really use too many of those things. But as we continue forward, USD, oh boy, this was the move. This was the move. I called this one as well. I called USD JPY and I called USD CAD last week. If you guys were in the inner circle group, I was like, yo, contrarian play. This is a contrarian move right here. I'm going to do opposite of everybody else. First of all, you guys, with the dollar index, this is the dopest part about it because I don't trade the DXY, but with the dollar index, right? If we have, and let's go ahead and see, I always like to, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing if I'm like, you know, providing credibility or if I like to brag on myself. But I record my trades as well in the group as well as like on Telegram oftentimes. See, he said, yeah, we took that together. Yes, sir. Yeah, we had a great trade. But I do trade the US dollar versus like the yen more so than I trade, well, I don't trade the dollar index, but if you see it, the exact same move that happened on the dollar index where we looked for these lows and we wanted to liquidate these lows and there was an imbalance was the same thing that we were able to identify on the Japanese yen. We had the lows that I wanted to liquidate and we had an imbalance. I had my targets a little bit lower on this trade. It didn't play out fully, you know what I'm saying? But I believe that this was, we called the buys on UJ. We called the sells on UJ. I think everything is published here as well. I remember we had first called the big buys. Price shot up to here. We ended up calling the sells somewhere in here. Sell that as well. Yeah, all those things are in there anyways. We'll keep it rocking. Oh, is my screen frozen? Okay, we'll keep it rocking. I wanted to see price come lower, you guys, but you have to be able to move with the market and to shift your perspectives. Essentially, what I started to see was I saw that this high right here, right? If we see this high right here, this high was broken. it broke above here, right? It kind of created like a higher high, essentially. We had this duplicated area here to where we made this low, and then we spiked, and then we had like a lower low, and then we spiked, and then we had an equal low to this. It's almost like a head and shoulders, to where we have this like, let's see, I never put these on my charts or nothing like that. I don't really use a lot, you guys, when I'm trading. I don't even know where to find some of these things. I should do better with that. I've been trading so long, but I really never used them. I'm not even going to do it right now. Whatever. We have the low price spikes. We have the lowest low. And then now guess what? We make a higher low. If we made a high, or we made a lower or a higher low, and then we made a higher high, the next thing that I'm looking for is I'm looking for a higher low, which we have here. And then now I'm looking for a higher high to either this area or to this area. On this trade already from the call, we are already over 100 pips in profits on this one as well, you guys. So I did lose some trades last week. I think I lost 2 more trades maybe, but this one, saucy, you guys. Risk to reward, crazy. We're risk-free on this. I ain't got to take another trade. We're risk-free. When CPI news comes out on Wednesday, hopefully we're all just nestled in at the bottom, and we don't have to think about the markets, right? Hopefully we're just like, we're in there, and we're just like, and I also go ahead and I filter out just the high impact news, not everything else. Hopefully we're just sitting there at the bottom, and when news comes out, we're just to the moon, and we just like have no, we're just looking back at everything, right? This was a great entry as well. This would be trading right back into this imbalance. I believe price needs to come back here. For every seller, there's a buyer. For every seller, there's a buyer. For every seller, there, like market will, for every seller, there's a buyer. For every seller, there's a buyer. For every buyer, there's a seller. You know what I mean? For every buyer, market ain't been down here yet. It probably will. This might be the crash. This might be the crash of US dollar coming all the way back into these lows, but I don't think I don't see it happening right now for some reason. And if the market does start to show me that, I'm open to changing my perspective, right? I'm open to readjusting and saying, you know what? Maybe it's wrong, because guess what? This is also an imbalance, and price could reject right here and now go ahead and be like, "Ooh, couldn't make a higher high, got to make a lower low." Guess what? By the time it rejects, if we get any kind of a bearish engulfing candle, I would be exiting my trade. I've already secured 50% of my profits already, right? I'm already risk-free on the trade already. Anything else that happens is a bonus to me. As we move forward, Euro JPY, I love it. I love Euro JPY. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, this is a trade, you guys. This has been one of the trades I've been calling. We called this, when I told you I love CPI news, this was that CPI drop back in, or was it? Yeah, this was that CPI. No, this was the Japanese yen news. This is when we caught these yen sells. But I think this was the CPI news. Yeah, this was the CPI news, and we had caught this sell as well. And then we caught this sell also. We caught this sell not last week, but the week before last week. I believe we called that. This was this says April. This was like April, like this was like the week before. It was like Thursday or Friday of the last week. And then we have price pull back into this area here. And I did take sells. I actually closed these out, and I closed them out early. I really didn't like the action, but I still see this playing out. I know some of my team are still holding Euro JPY. I still see this playing out. Another thing that you'll see, you guys, a reason as to why like I'm a little shaky on, like, in economic uncertainty, the Japanese yen has been a safe haven currency pair. So right now, you guys, we're at 144 on Euro JPY. I can see prices going lower. I can see prices going lower. We'll see how that goes, right? We'll see how that goes. I'm not currently in this trade either right now. I closed this trade at the end of the week. I was like, yeah, we got a long week, just different things like that. And I kind of closed it, but I still see this one playing out. I closed this second position. We still have the first position open. I think my team still might have the position open as well. And then GBP JPY. There we go. GBP JPY, you guys. This might be one of my, you guys always, if you guys been rocking with me, I have my trade of the week. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that might be the trade of the week. That might be the trade. That's why I closed my Euro JPY, though, if I'm being honest, because I normally don't trade the Euro and the pound in the same direction. if I can be completely honest. I normally don't trade the euro and the pound in the same direction, but if the euro JPY and the GBP JPY and USD JPY all sell, it's because of yen strength more so than anything else. The reason why I rarely trade them in the same direction is because I like to trade euro GBP, right? Euro GBP is a pair that I focus on. Euro GBP to me is like the European dollar index, right? I trade it against, like, if I'm trading Euro GBP, that means that the GBP pairs will buy against the euro and that the euro will fall against the GBP pairs. So Euro GBP is one that I've been wanting to see shorts on Euro GBP. So honestly, like, I've wanted to see the Great British Pound go up. You guys know I skipped around. I skipped forward. I also trade. So this is one that's possible. We had an imbalance that was here with this block that was here to where price came in and tested it, and then it fell, and it came back in and tested it again, and then it fell, right? The only thing that I may see on this pair, oh, look, never mind. I take that back. Sometimes on like the daily time frames, or sometimes I don't like to just trade off of these wicks because this is a high and this is a high. That means there's liquidity above this high, right? That means that there are stop losses here and there's probably buy stops above here. If I see these things, oftentimes I don't like it. I like to trade full candle closures, like a full body candle closing here and then rejecting is what I like. When I see it on the 4 hour though, this is actually, yo, this is the trade of the week, you guys. We're gonna hit on this one. I feel really good about this trade. I ain't gonna lie to you. We've got this buy to sell. We've got this doji to where price just rejects. This candle shows, okay, cool. Think about this. We have a previous high here, right? This is our previous high, right? This candle goes and says, this also goes back to driven trading and my mentor, Corey Cromray. He's taught us about, how do you say, what are those called? Probes or fakers, right? We've got a lesson called probes or fakers. This shows like we've got a high here, price pushes above it and then immediately rejects, right? And falls back down. The candle that was on the sell side is bigger than the candle that was on the buy side. This is an engulfing candle following a doji reversal candle, right? Followed by a high that was not able to be broken, followed by an imbalance that has now been mitigated. Yo, man, if this don't hit, I don't know, man. I might have to go back to the drawing board. There's a whole lot of confirmations on my side. Whole lot of confirmations, right? I like multiple confirmations, at least 3 confirmations per trade. As we see price pulls back into here. The only thing that I might see if I was to lose this trade, I would lose a 50 pip trade, right? Risk to reward crazy. 1 to 11, right? So for every 50 pips, or I should say for every $1 that I'm risking, if I risk $1, I'm looking to gain 11. I'm risking 50 pips to make almost 600. The only thing and the only way I can see myself losing this trade is if price actually pushes up into this level here. We create a right shoulder, because look at this area here. You see, this is kind of like where we see this bearish engulfing candle. We create a right shoulder here. And then from that right shoulder, we see price melt down after that. That might be the only situation that I might find, because we got a little bit of an imbalance here. That might be the only situation that I can find to where I'd be like, you know what, I might lose the trade. There's always a possibility. But what I do is I'll just take my alert, because I don't want to be consumed by the market or anything like that and just be there always, whatever. I might go ahead and have like an alert at 165. And 165 is the quarter point. If you guys have studied quarter point theory as well, if you guys are not familiar with these things, if you guys are traders, you guys are just like, yo, these are, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I see, I see A and I see B. Like, but if you guys aren't familiar with like quarter point theory, like sometimes I like to trade to the whole numbers, the 165, 162.5, 167.5, 160, what would it be? Is that 168 or 170? I'm tripping. Anyways, we'll keep it moving, you guys. So with that being said, we do got a little bit of rejection coming in here. And then we go down to the weekly, to the 1 hour time frame, and we see another bearish engulfing candle. A lot of these things are showing me some downsides, so I ain't even really worried about this upside, you guys, for real, for real. If it does push into that level, then, and I probably would set sell. Sometimes I'll say sell, possible sell. No, if it comes to this level, sell op. Sometimes I'll be like possible sell because like I just want to go ahead and look at the market. If I put sell on it, like I distinguish between, if I put sell on it, I just go ahead, oh, alert went off, enter here, because that's like my level. If it does push back into here, I also want to know my risk to reward ahead of time. My risk to reward might be something like this. It might be so small. It might be something like right here, another 50 pips, and it won't even be at exactly that point. I'll be waiting for the 165, so 42 pips, and we turn it from a 1 to 11. Ooh, a 1 to 11 trade into, yo, what am I doing right now, man? Into a 1 to like, it'll probably like make it like a 1 to 13 type of thing. And then of course, I like to target the lows. I like to target like these wicks. I like to target these lows. I might be looking for something like this, you guys. We end up with a massive, well, I don't even know what that is anymore. We end up with a massive 1 to 16 trade. Oh my goodness, yo. Almost makes me want my stop loss. I'm just kidding. I don't want my stop loss to get hit. I'm lying to you. Let's keep it going, you guys. I like GBP odd as well. One of my pairs. I lost GBP odd. No, I didn't take GBP odd last week. I lost GBP odd the week before that in March. The last week of March, I lost a GBP odd trade. The reason why I stopped entering on GBP, this trade, I lost probably two or three times though. You know what I'm saying? But I also see the next level that we're coming to. Because price coming in here on GBP AUD, this is a massive imbalance. We can see price fall. I was trying to sell like in this area. I just try to force this one, you guys. You know, I still make like, I've been trading for a long time and I still make those like human error mistakes and just like, I want the setup so bad. And I just want it to work out, right? Sometimes we just feel that way and we're like, yo, I really wanted to work out. So, essentially I was here. I think I was on like the 1 hour time frame, or the 4 hour time frame or something like this. And I saw like this kind of like this imbalance right here. And I'm like, you know what? If price pulls into this area here, we might get a test and then we might just see price. There's more to it because when I go through those little confirmations, it doesn't really sound as well. There's other things, but I'm not really looking at it. I don't like the price action on GBP odd right now. So I'm not going to trade it and I'm not going to do too much of a review on it. You guys, I'm going to just go ahead and skip this one for today. If we do push into this area here, I might want to look at it. But the fact that I do want to sell the New Zealand dollar, that means that it does support the Great British Pound versus the Australian dollar, like buying right now. We'll do something different too. We'll go ahead and look at NZD versus AUD as well today before we get off. I don't normally do that, but we got 9 minutes and I'll go and do that as well. Euro USD, I haven't taken a trade on Euro USD in quite a while. I don't know why, because it really does support. When I teach people using Euro USD because it follows all of the rules, right? There's the first lesson in the Driven Trading Academy. Let me go ahead, you guys. I got a promo, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm here to provide value, but we're going to make sales as well. We're going to make new partnerships as well. But I usually don't really trade the euro so much, but the euro follows all of the rules, right? The first lessons in the Driven Trading Academy, it talks about breaches and territories, and the euro is something that follows those things so perfectly. So that is something that I always use it to teach because it's just so clean, like in this downwards channel. And then I can show them how when we got the break of that channel, we switched directions, right? Now we have like, this was a smaller channel on like the, I believe this was on the, like 4 hour or something like that, or the 1 hour, and you could take the same thing. But what I was looking at on the euro, I do see shorts on euro versus like euro USD. Kind of right in here. This is actually one that is like I see just about right now. Let's see what time frame I was looking at this on. You guys might be able to see it already. Let's see. Let's see if I can reduce the time frame. Let's see if I can reduce the time frame. I mean, there's a couple things that we can look at here. Price, the structure is kind of ugly to me, if I can be honest. It's not one of those things that I look at, I'm like, yo, trade of the week right there. I don't really, it's not like that. How do I even break this down right quick? So one of the things that I focused on is I did focus on this area here, that I have highlighted. This is the area like a hesitation point where the market was falling. We got a little pivot and then that selling continued. When that selling continued, it created an imbalance. If price maintains below here, I want to be selling back in this direction. This is where the whale came into the market, right? This is the candle that started the move that created this downside momentum, right? The fact is that when price comes back to this level now, at any point, I want to sell either here, which I think I tried to sell here one day in like February, and it didn't work or something like that. But it doesn't always work out like that. What ended up happening was I think price pushed through here, and then after it pushed through, it then sold, and then it tested here, and then we got the sell from that point. We came and we actually had the sell, right where I showed you. We had that initial sell where market fell. We had another initial sell where the market fell. And then we have this area where price breaks through. These are the equal highs, right? We took out the equal highs and then price falls back into that area here. And that exact same area where we were initially selling is where market is at right now. We've got imbalances here. I set my targets by looking at low, low, low. And this could be a nice 1 to 4, 1 to 7, 1 to 4.7 trade. Euro GBP, as we already saw. I like the Euro GBP, which means that Euro USD can go with it, because it's partially the Euro. We see this big bearish engulfing candle as the market closed on Euro GBP. That's why I don't like GBP odd, because if Euro GBP is falling, GBP odd actually follows different rules, but GBP can kind of push to the upside just a bit. And then you guys, Euro GBP right now, there's imbalances that need to be filled here. There's also liquidity all in these areas below here. We need to scoop these lows. Even if we're going to the upside, we need price to come in and take out these lows, right? That's the only way I feel comfortable buying. If this was a range or a channel, right, or a range, right, we would want to buy at the bottom and sell at the top of the range until we saw a break in one direction or another. The fact that we have this imbalance right here, it makes me want to wait until price comes back into this zone right here to look for any buys. But then we also have liquidity here as well with another big imbalance. So we can actually come in and take out all of these areas here and then get our buys. And then, of course, you guys, to wrap it up, y'all know I cannot end the call without our indices for our our NASDAQ traders. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple traders that rock with the NAS. I love it. I definitely we ate on the NAS. I think the last week of March, we caught 837 points on NAS off of one trade. Simplest trade ever, you guys. Most textbook trade ever. Same thing. We formed lows here, lows here, lows here, price bounces, liquidity, sweep, and then price closes back above. We target the highs, right? I literally target the next highs in here and price trades back into those highs. Now, what we're looking at is, I'm selling NAS this week. You guys already see I got the setup already here. But if I were to look at NAS on the daily time frame, is that the time frame that I was looking at? There is a little bit of, I don't know if I'm selling NAS actually. I might wait. There's a little bit of a gap here. I believe that in the market, gaps get filled. And I do have price came into here, but I don't feel like this is a full closure or a full fill. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it kind of did on the 4 hour, but I'm a little iffy on this. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do like this area right here where I see this imbalance here. I like this little zone right here as a point to sell at, right? If I were to delete this, and delete all the things around it. But you see, look at that. Price is actually above that little zone that I'm looking at. It's not where I want it to be. So I'm not going to rush. I would only trade NAS like, New York Open anyways, like is when I would look at it. Because I got my, I got my NAS, like I got my NAS experts, like Shirlisa in the group, like Tabitha in the group that, they tell me they trade the open, you know what I'm saying? So I trade New York Open. Market's about to open in just a moment right now anyways. I'm going to just stay on for the next 2 minutes, you guys, just so I can see if there's any motion in the open. I don't think it'll be completely flat, I believe. But NAS can present an opportunity to us. Look at this. There's an imbalance here as well. So we might see just another little push into these highs, maybe like right in here, like right in here. And then from that point in time, we might end up seeing the sells come in after that. And that's what I got for you guys for the week. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a financial advisor. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. These are just my perspectives, you guys. I just want to be able to provide some value for, for my people, no matter where you're located, no matter whether you can afford the education or not. I just want to provide some value for you. I want to be able to give it to you without holding anything back. Like I know there's some educators and some teachers that they want you to pay for their course and they want to give you enough information so that you have to rely on them. And you cannot become independent for yourself. I don't want to be a leader that requires to create just more. I want to lead by creating other leaders, right? I want you guys to be able to impact your family and your friends and, your communities by the skill set that you have. We've got some individuals on this call who completely changed their lives at this point so far. They're impacting their community. They're doing great things because they've learned this skill set. They're sponsoring people. There's so many great things that are happening by us sharing this knowledge, you guys. So I just want to share, this is like what I put my heart into for the past 8 years, you guys. This is like, it means so much to me and it just brings me joy every single time I get the opportunity to share it with each and every single one of you guys. So as we, every week I'm going to be here on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time coming into the open. If you guys are looking for some more hands-on mentorship, one-on-one trading sessions, you guys tap in with me. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Wall Street Wale. Feel free to hit me in the Telegram group, the Wale's Wealth Tips Telegram group. You guys can message me also on Telegram at Wall Street Wale. I'll message you if you guys are already locked into the Driven Trading Academy. You guys know that I do one-on-one sessions. If you guys ask for those trades or ask for that time, let me know what you need. Be vocal, speak to me, you guys, and I'm going to give you guys everything that I can possibly give to you guys, like everything that I'm able to share, everything that I'm able to give. I'm never going to withhold the information. I'm going to give it to you anyways for free. But if you do want to connect on a closer level and you want to be in alignment with a community of people who are growing and going in the same direction as you, I believe that the Driven Trading Academy, IX Global, Wale's Wealth Tips, Project 55 Africa, we're uniting. All of these companies have come together, put pride to the side, and we're working together to create change in the world, to create change in Africa, in a big way, to create change in Africa, all areas of Africa, all 55 countries. But we also want to impact the communities that are here as well, you guys, in the United States and as well as all over the world. So if you guys are on this call and you took time out of your Sunday, your day of rest, your Easter, just to spend a moment with me, you guys, I don't take it for granted. I'm truly grateful. I'm truly happy to, to share this information with you. If you guys are watching this on the replay, there is a link below with additional resources. There's a link below with a link to our open access community group, you guys. I'm extremely excited to continue connecting with you guys, to continue growing with you guys. And as always, you guys, I will see you on the next call next week, Sunday at this exact same time, 4 p.m. Hope you guys have a blessed and an amazing rest of your day. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.